Hey Glue Troopers, Max and Max's Models here with a real quick evening video. I finally got that shelf that I took out of the office moved into the Tarbus. I actually did it this morning. And without getting into all the unnecessary details, I found a place for the C-57D on top of it. Hooray! So I spent the day cleaning, well, I wouldn't say cleaning up, but rearranging the Tarbus. And I was luckily, by moving my workstations and everything around very carefully, I was able to get this up against the wall. And now I have a lot of extra space to put some displays out and everything. As I mentioned this morning, I have a new cabinet that's supposed to be coming in the next couple of days. It'll be all lit up and assembled here in the office. That's going to be occupying some of my time. So I'm not sure how long before I get back to the Jupiter 2. I might get some done tomorrow. It's hard to say. You know, I have to keep the very tight schedule of the retired man. But now that I've got a lot more room, of course, I swear you spend as much time rearranging your shelf and trying to figure out the best way to display your models. And of course, the minute you add a new model, you have to rearrange everything again. And this glass case is something I'd use for a while. Help keep the dust off that biplane, because biplanes are impossible to dust off. And as I notice here, even a flying saucer has to be refueled from time to time, and when they land, it's a newsworthy event, so send out the newscopters. Anyway, that's what I spent a good chunk of the day doing, and well, had a long, hard day of being retired. Oh, I did knock out another video. My wife had made a comment earlier about giving some safety concerns with the airlines and stuff that's going on where security is concerned. I decided to make a video called the Last Golden Era, because right now, you know, you had the golden era of aviation, then the golden era of airline travel. Basically, golden era of aviation is considered the between the wars years. Then the golden era of air travel was basically 45 to 78 when deregulation kicked in. Now we're in the golden era of safety, which I'm calling it because we haven't had a major mishap in 15 years, but sadly what's going on in the world, that may change. So I made a video about that, which is on the Pilots and Prop Wash channel, but I'll just put it on the end after here also. If you want to see it, don't have to go clicking around. Guys, you take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you later. And as always, model on. You need only be in my house about 10 seconds to realize how much I love aviation. I've been in love with it since I was a child. I grew up hearing about the golden era of aviation, the interwar period between the 20s and the 30s, and then the golden age of air travel, usually the 50s through the 60s, and how it all came crashing to an end with deregulation in 1978. Although one could argue it really started with the oil embargo of 1973, but that's another discussion. I love aviation so much that I made it my career, and I do believe that I retired just at the tail end of the third golden era. Safety. There's no question that the events of 9/11 changed airline travel forever, but as much as few people want to admit it, it is much safer now. Security is finally becoming more efficient while being more effective, although nothing's foolproof. But airliner accidents have become so rare, especially in Europe and the United States, that now they're world news whenever one happens. People forget that during the so-called golden age of air travel, there was an airliner crash at least every month, sometimes every week. There can be no question that although many of the amenities are gone, air travel is as safe as it has ever been in history. More destinations are open via jet travel than ever before. For young pilots trying to start their careers, these are the best times ever. Quite often, airline pilots are hired in their 20s instead of their 30s or even 40s, as was the case prior to the retirement of the Vietnam-era pilots. Like any other industry, the airlines have always been plagued by ups and downs in the market, as well as mergers and acquisitions. But the industry is doing so well that we actually have a pilot shortage, or at least have had one. Of course, this is due largely to the fact that not as many people are learning to fly as they were before. Many people are not attracted to the industry because it seems to have lost much of its glamour, and it has. But the reason I say that this is the golden era is because it is so safe and affordable. Almost the opposite of what it was in the 40s. And people forget, flying in the 40s and 50s wasn't always that pleasurable an experience with those big radial engines out there barking away. Now, of course, if you're like me and you're an airplane person, that's pure music. But to the average traveler, they just want quiet transportation above the weather. Something that we can give them today, and for a surprisingly affordable price. I really feel that I flew at the tail end of the last golden era because I don't think it's going to last much longer. With major security concerns like state-sponsored terrorism, now even allegedly Russia putting bombs on cargo aircraft, I'm really beginning to worry about the future of aviation. Also, the advances in automation are resulting in the possibility that we may go down to the one-person cockpit. I really believe that's 10 to 15 years in the future, and someday, perhaps, no pilot up there at all. I'm sure it will be efficient and economical and safe. But there won't really be any romance to it, at least not from the pilot's point of view. Between excitement, adventure, comfort, luxury, and safety, I'll take safety every time. And that's the one thing that I think we have maximized. But the rest of it, well, let's be honest. Unfortunately, flying has just become a bit of a drudge. I'm glad I got to fly when I did, when things were very safe, but there was also still the personal touch. It may be the end of the last golden era, but the future will come and we will see it when it gets here. That was just my passing thought for the day, and I thought I would share it. I'm Max of Pilots and Prop Wash, wishing you a safe and on-time arrival.